Imagine this for a second. You're living in one of the most advanced cities on Earth. Everything is organized. Everything is efficient. People follow rules like it's second nature. Technology is everywhere, from bullet trains to robots to smart systems controlling the flow of daily life. Now imagine that same city getting outsmarted, not by hackers, not by criminals, not by some advanced AI, but by crows. Crows, those black birds you probably ignore every single day. Sounds crazy, right? But this actually happened. This story takes us to Tokyo, a city that represents precision, discipline, control. Everything in Tokyo is designed to work perfectly. Trash is sorted into categories. Streets are spotless. Even the busiest crossings somehow feel organized. It's the kind of place where chaos just doesn't belong. But nature doesn't really care about human systems. And the crows? They saw Tokyo not as a structured city, but as an opportunity. See, the crows in Tokyo aren't your average birds. These aren't just scavengers flying around randomly looking for food. These are highly intelligent creatures. Scientists have studied crows for years, and they've discovered something fascinating. Crows can solve problems, recognize faces, and even use tools. But in Tokyo, they took things to a whole different level. First, it didn't seem like a big deal. People noticed crows hanging around busy roads. That's normal, right? Birds are everywhere. But then, something strange started happening. Drivers began noticing walnuts scattered across the streets. Not cracked, not eaten, just placed there. It didn't make sense at first. Why would nuts just be lying in the middle of traffic? Until someone finally noticed the pattern. The crows were putting them there, on purpose. Here's what they were doing, and this is where it gets insane. Crows would pick up hard nuts like walnuts which they couldn't break with their beaks. Instead of struggling, they found a smarter way. They would drop the nuts onto busy roads. And then, they would wait. Cars would drive over the nuts, crushing them open. But the craziest part isn't that. The craziest part is what happened next. The crows didn't just rush in randomly to grab the food. No, they waited for the traffic lights. Yes, these birds were using traffic signals. They learned to observe the lights. Red light, cars stop. Green light, cars move. Simple for us. But for a bird to understand and use that system, that's something else entirely. So here's what would happen. The crow drops the nut. Cars crush it. The light turns red. And only then, the crow calmly walks onto the road, picks up the broken nut, and flies away, like it's just another normal day. At this point, it almost feels like the crows are saying, why work hard when humans can do the job for us? And honestly, they're not wrong. But it didn't stop there. As the crow population grew, so did their impact on the city. Trash became a major problem. Tokyo has strict garbage rules, but crows figured out how to tear open trash bags. And once they did, it was chaos. Garbage scattered everywhere. Streets that were once spotless suddenly looked messy. Residents started getting frustrated. The city had to step in. The Tokyo metropolitan government began taking action. They introduced reinforced garbage nets. They tried relocating crows. They even removed nests. It was a full-on effort to control the situation. But the crows? They adapted. Every time humans came up with a solution, the crows found a way around it. Stronger garbage nets? They learned how to pull from different angles. Nest removal? They built new ones, even smarter this time. And here's where things got even worse. Crows started building nests on electric poles. Not just anywhere, but in places that actually interfered with the power system. Twigs and wires. You can probably guess what happened. Short circuits, power outages, entire neighborhoods affected because of birds. Think about that for a second. A city known for its advanced technology being disrupted by crows building nests. It almost feels unreal, like something out of a movie, but it's real life. And it shows something we often forget. Intelligence isn't limited to humans. Crows aren't just reacting randomly. They're observing, learning, adapting. They understand patterns. They remember what works and what doesn't. And over time, they become better at surviving in human environments than we expect. And maybe that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because we like to think we're in control. We build cities. We create systems. We organize everything. But nature plays by its own rules. In a way, these crows weren't just surviving in Tokyo. They were thriving. They used human systems to their advantage. They turned traffic into a tool. They turned garbage into a resource. They even turned infrastructure into nesting grounds. It's like they looked at the entire city and said, "Nice system you've built. We'll use it." So the next time you see a crow, don't just think of it as a random bird. Look a little closer, because behind those black feathers is a brain that's constantly thinking, learning, and adapting. And maybe, just maybe, they're watching us the same way we think we're watching them.